And I think we find out that a lot of times we are the same. We are more the same than we are different. And we all want the same things. We want our families to be safe. You know, we want good education for our children, and we want to be secure. We want our country to be secure. And I think no matter what color you are, that's what it is that you would like, you want.
So tell us about the your Women's Memorial. And
yeah, I had the opportunity to attend a Women's Memorial event today in Washington, D.C. at St. Vincent Senior Citizens Facility, and at that event, they were honoring women veterans. And I was the guest speaker, but in the room, I was honored to be, as I say, with the Trailblazers. There was a woman there who was 103 years old. Her name was Alice Davis. She was in the Women's Army Corps in 1943, which is a year after my mother was born. But at 103, very alert and proud to have been in the Women's Army Corps. There was an African-American woman there who was the first black first sergeant in the Army, and just proud to see me in a position that they were not able to be in when they were coming up in service, but very proud of the service that they were able to render. And there was also a woman Marine who was very proud of her service. So it was a very nice event.
I would imagine when you first started at West Point, it was harsh on women, those early classes.
Yes, my class had, there were 7 women in my class, and we basically doubled, I'm sorry, not 7 African-American women. There were 63 total women in my class, and we basically almost doubled the number of women that had been in classes previous to us arriving at West Point, especially the fact that we graduated the majority of the women who started with us in our class. It was a challenge. There were still, residual people there who did not want us there. But what I found refreshing is when I went back for a 25-year reunion in October of 2009, just to see that while some things stay the same, there are some things that are markedly different, and that women are serving in different positions within the Corps of Cadets, leadership positions that we were not serving in previous.
But you consider how horrible it was. The late General Benjamin O. Davis was an African-American, class of 1937 at West Point. He was at West Point for 4 years, and he was silenced. No one spoke to him at a meal for 4 years.
That's correct.
And he made it through. Think how tough he was.
Yeah, one thing Beverly said was it was a woman Marine.
Yes.
Well, believe it or not, there's no such thing anymore in the Marine Corps as a woman Marine. They're all Marines now. Of course, there's a story behind how I found that out, but it's really amazing how the Marine Corps took that label off.
That's correct.
To where you're a Marine. They go to Parris Island. They go through the crucible. I mean, there's no other than there is no co-ed boot camp in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And there won't be as long as the Commandant of the Marine Corps has anything to say about it. But like I said, it was just amazing because my grandson just went through there. We went down, and unfortunately they alternate the women will graduate the following week.
Right.
So that's how they have that going, and it's just amazing how that has transformed.
And like I said before, I think we find that we are very much the same. I think at one point in time, people may have thought that women couldn't be in combat because they'd be scared or something like that. I think we all have fear. Right. No one walks in the well, maybe there's some crazy people who do, but I don't think if you're saying you don't walk into combat thinking that it's all great, fine, and wonderful. I think everybody has some element of fear. However, it is how you handle yourself, how you go through your training, how you trust the training that you've received. And I believe that women have performed so well that you can say, for the most part, that they are capable of serving in any capacity. And we see that now that we also have our first 4-star general with General Dunwoody in the Army.
In fact, back when they had the Director of Women Marines, she was a colonel. She was the first female brigadier in the Marine Corps as a director of Women Marines. And then, of course, that was done away with. And
well, it's still going to be a few decades before we have a first of everything.
right.
Yes.
But that'll be a wonderful
These
time.
same issues were raised when we had women police officers, state troopers, and we had
Firefighters.
and firefighters, and there was a security, and I'm a judge by profession, and there was a female sheriff in the court, and the guy was disorderly, and she said, "I said, shut up." She had her stick. Well, you're going to find a lot of white gooey stuff on the end of this stick, and that was the end of that. She said, "I really wish the other bailiff was a giant. She said, I wish I was as big as that, you know." But she certainly got her message through.
You were, I know you were in the reserves.
That's correct.
Okay. And so moving around in the reserves isn't as easy as it is on the active duty side, it seems.
There are opportunities, you have to look for them. I am a member of the 80th Training Command, which is based out of Richmond, Virginia, and I'm their military intelligence schools officer, which means I'm the liaison between them and the schoolhouse, the reserve school assignment. I have been blessed in my reserve career. I have had an opportunity to work intelligence positions when I was deployed, but I was also given the opportunity to be a PMS, a professor of military instruction at Bowie State University. I was also afforded the opportunity to be an operations officer. I was the S3 for Medical Service Brigade. And the story I always tell is that my brigade commander at the time, when I was interviewing for the position, she's like, "Do you know anything about the Medical Service Corps?" "No, ma'am." "But how hard can it be to work with a group of nurses?" I had to eat those words many times. But if you want positions, they're there. You just have to let people know, and I think this is anywhere. You just have to let people know that you're interested. And then you have to make sure that you're prepared and that you're qualified when the time comes that the position is open.
And but there's a certain type of person that's drawn to the military. It's not for everybody, and I think somebody that goes into the military and makes it a career, as you have, really sets you apart from many other civilian careers that you typically see women in.
Yeah, I think people who stay, I think that was the key word that you said, people who make it a career. There is something that's different. The military is a unique family. I call it your family away from your family. Because the traditions and the history, it's just something so different from anything that I had ever been a part of, but that you grow to respect and to learn. It's the reason why you gentlemen are in the veterans organizations that you're in. There's a camaraderie there. There's something there that we all grew up and learned together. And I think that every American really should have an experience with it. I honestly do. I think that people do not respect what we have as Americans if you've never been out of this country. You don't know the freedoms and the values that we serve to protect. The fact that somebody can burn a flag here, somebody can threaten the president and not be put in jail or not be killed, is the freedom that we fight and protect for the citizens of this country.
Well, and it's been a long history too.
Yes.
In getting this far.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. But before we end, I would like to bring up some things that we've been talking about on the commission as far as getting services to veterans and to women veterans in particular and to reservists. Many of the services may not be obviously provided, and I think that comes out at our veterans meetings, that there are people out there who need help and who need services, and we don't have those services here in the county to handle the amount of veterans that we have here in the county. But I would ask that people go onto our veterans website, the Prince George's County website, for the Veterans Commission, and there are links there that will get them to organizations that could possibly help them.
Well, that's one of the things that we've been trying to do here, is basically tell our audience that you can't just sit at home. You got to let people know and get involved. The involvement is very important to get active within the veterans organization.